Hey everybody, this is Mr. Carey coming back to you with video 3 of our GoMath 4th grade chapter 4 review tests. So we left off on page 197, and this, if you look at number 16, let's just kick right into it. So we're going to look at these models, and before we start looking at the models and panicking, we want to look at our first numbers. We want to look at our dividends. So our dividends, which you know how I love to highlight, I'm going to highlight my dividends in, and if you said blue, you are absolutely right. I'm going to highlight my dividends in blue. And I'm going to do the same for my answers up here, A, B, C, and D. And so all we're going to do is write the actual, whatever letter goes in, matches with the model, right? So if it's, A, B, C, D, those aren't the right answers. I'm just showing you. So the first thing, let's do our first model, which is this one right here, 150, and then it counts backwards by 30s. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our 150. So we know, I'll circle this in blue, we know that this is either going to be B or D, because it starts off with 150, and that's going to be our dividend. So now all we have to do is look at what is our last number here. Our last number is 30. Is there another answer up here that ends in 30? And the only one here is this one, 150 divided by 30. So that is going to be B. Now we can check this. What this is saying is 150 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is equal to 30. Or 150 divided by 30 gives me 5. And we can check that to see if that works, right? 150 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just show you 50, 150. And we can check to see if this works. So 150, so 5 goes into 15 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract, get a 0, bring down my 0. 5 goes into 0 0 times, and guess what? Our 30 matches up with this. Now, what this is saying is, let me erase all this I just scribbled over here. Let's see what that looks like if I were to do it the other way, right? 150 divided by 30. Okay? Now this may be intimidating having a divisor that's 2 digits, but really look at our basic math facts, right? Look at 30 into 150. What about 3 into 15? How many times does 3 go into 15? It goes 5 times. Well, we wouldn't put the 5 here, right? Because we're saying 30 goes into 15, or 30 goes into 150 5 times. And how many times do we jump? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that makes sense. And here's the cool part. Once you've answered this, once you've eliminated B, right? We've already used B, and I'm going to go ahead and X it out. We've used B right here. I'm going to really put that dark there. Yeah, that doesn't help us out, does it? I'll just write it regular. B. Guess what? We know where D is going to be. Look for your other 150. It's right there. We know D is going to be there. Not B. I have B on the brain. D. Why? Because look, our quotient, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at our dividend, 150, 150. Look at our divisor, 30, 50. 150, 150, 30, 30. 150, 150, 50, 50. So that's cool. You don't have to solve all 4 of these. You solve one, you get the other one with the same dividend. All right, so now we can eliminate D. Now all we have are the 160s. Now what I'm going to do is use the same thing. Use the first one, 160, and looks like we've jumped 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and our last number is 40. So look at our answers up here. Does any one of these have 40 as a divisor? And yes, if you said C, that would be correct. And C is going to go right there. Because 160 divided by 40 gives us 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, since we've already saw we eliminated C, guess what? A fits right there. And sure enough, it works, right? 160, 160, 80, 80, boom, you're done. Right? So it's really just about working smarter, not harder. Don't try to solve every single one of these. You really only need to solve 2 and use process of elimination for the other 2. All right, number 17, popcorn was donated for the school fair by 3 different popcorn vendors. Interesting. They donated a total of 636 bags of popcorn. Wow, that's a lot of popcorn. Each vendor donated the same number of bags. How many bags of popcorn did each vendor donate? So, again, before we start jumping into the problem, let's highlight our dividend, our divisor, and what our quotient is going to be. So, I like to start off with the dividend. So the dividend is going to be our large number. How many total bags did they donate? They donated 636 bags. So that's going to be our dividend. And then we switch to red for our divisor. So how many different popcorn vendors do we have? How many groups, do we have? Well, we have 3, right? 3 different popcorn vendors. You can just highlight 3 if you want. But that way we know we have 636 bags. I have 3 different vendors. And then my quotient is going to be how many bags of popcorn did each vendor donate? So right now we have the total. So imagine this. Imagine you're at the school and then you're trying to send the bill and all you show up and there's 636 bags of popcorn just sitting on the desk. So now you got to figure, and then they say, oh yeah, we all donated the same amount. So now you need to figure out how much did each vendor donate. So that's kind of a real world problem that school fundraisers are going to have to deal with. So let's set up our problem. And again, when you're doing your test, show your work on your test. Please show your work. So that way I know if you've done something wrong, where you did it wrong, where along the lines did you get, kind of lose focus, and then I can help guide you back. So our dividend 636. Our divisor 3. Now let's get to work. Can 3 divide into 600s, right? Or I have 600s. Can I divide them 3 times? Sure I can. Or another way is 3 times what gives me 6? Sure, 2. Or 6 divided by 3 is 2. So divide, multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract. 6 minus 6 is 0. And then bring down 3. Perfect. And now the cycle repeats. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Or, for those in my class, they like me to say, does McDonald's serve burgers? Or dad, mom, sister, brother. But I prefer, does McDonald's serve burgers? Which we all know the answer is yes, billions and billions served. All right, divide. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract. 3 minus 3 is 0. And then bring down 6. And then now we're back where we started. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract. 6 minus 6 is 0. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We have nothing to bring down, and we are done. So, how many bags of popcorn did each vendor donate? Each vendor donated 212 bags of popcorn. It's pretty good. Now, we can check our answer by multiplying 212 times 3, which is always a good thing to do. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll erase it so I can have room to work on number 18. But let's test it. 212 times 3 vendors. So what would the total be? 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. And 2 times 3 is 6. And it looks like our answers match up. And we did the division and multiplication correctly. Outstanding. Moving on to number 18. Partial quotients. Which I actually do like using partial quotients. As much as I like long division. But this is a great way to kind of look at, to really kind of chip away at 832. So let's go ahead and do this. So the way we do this, we start off with 100 times 8. So 100 times 8 is what? 800. And now on this block over here, we're going to write what partial quotient we use, which was 100. Awesome. Now, 832 minus 800 is 32. Perfect. Now, what is 8 times 4? 8, and then we're going to go this way. 8 times 4 is 32. And then we're going to go, I'm going to erase that. Now we're going to go this way. We used a 4. Now 32 minus 32 is 0. And now we add up our partial quotients. 100 plus 4 is, you guessed it, 104. Now, I'm going to circle the answer. Now let's go ahead and check our answer to make sure that we're correct. So 104, right, because that would be right here, 104 times 8. So 4 times 8 is 32. I regroup the 3. 0 times 8 is 0 plus 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. And 8 plus 1 is 8. So it looks like our 832 matches with our 832. So our answer is indeed correct. Partial quotients. 832 divided by 8 is 104. So for those that are still getting used to partial quotients, remember, what goes, I'll highlight in, I'll do it in, how about blue? We like blue. So I'm going to do a big highlighter here. So in this column right here, right, I'm highlighting in blue. That's where you multiply whatever partial quotient you're using. In this case, we did 100 and then 4. So 100 times 8 is 800. And then in red, over here, is going to be the actual quotient, like this right there. You just bring that over and then you end up adding it up. So partial quotients at work, 104. I'll give you a minute to write that down, and I'm going to switch over to our last page of our Chapter 4 test review. All right, I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here it goes. Boom and boom. All right, so here comes our last page of our test review. There it is. All right, now we have Zach. Zach needs to divide these base 10 blocks into 3 equal groups. So this was, I believe it was 4.9, where we started to use models to start regrouping. So the key here is, and I'm going to highlight, you know how I love to highlight. So my dividend, I'm going to highlight in blue, and this is my dividend here, all right? My divisor is 3. So what that means is, how many groups do I have? Well, I have 3 equal groups. Now, I like to draw circles for my groups, so I'm going to do that right now. So here is circle 1, and then I'm going to draw circle. They might be the same. I'll try and make them the same. And then circle 3. Now, I know they're not like, for those that want me to put in order, fine, I will make them perfectly. There we go. Is that better? I feel better too. All right, so now all we're going to do, this is where we're going to start peeling off our little base 10 blocks. So let's start off with our hundreds, our tens. So how many base 10 blocks do we have? Let's just count them up right now. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. I have 48. All right, that's good. Good to know that I have 48. All right, so now we're just going to start peeling them off. And since I like to use green for my quotient, let's start peeling them off here. So I have 1, 2, 3. All right, there's my base 10 blocks. Outstanding. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I've already used them, I'm going to, see? All right, those are gone. So now how many do I have left? Well, I have 110 left. Can I take my 110 and give it equally to 3 groups without breaking it apart? No, I can't. So what I have to do is, yes, that's right, break it apart. Or, again, the math term that I like to use is regrouping. So I'm turning my 10 into 10 ones. So instead of having 110 and 8 ones, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I have 18 ones. So now I can just start peeling them apart. And let's go ahead and do that. And I'll just make my little dots as... You can do this individually if you want. You can do them in groups of 3. I'm just going to do them individually to show you how it works. 1, 2, 3. All right. Bye. And then come back. 4, 5, 6. And goodbye. And then 7, 8, 9. And goodbye. And then 10, 11, 12. 10, 11, 12. And then we have 13, 14, 15. 13, 14, 15. And then 16, 17, 18. 16, 17, 18. And look at that. They all equally, and oh yeah, I almost forgot. Since I used all these, I gotta say goodbye to them. Goodbye, guys. So all of our base 10 blocks were divided equally. And so if I were to write this, which I would want you to write this so I know that you understand what it is you're doing, you're gonna have, remember we had 48, and we divided them into 3 equal groups. And then let's go ahead and I'm going to circle this. How many are in this each single group? Well, I have 10. Erase that so we don't get 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 16 in each group, which looks like it matches up. 16 in each group. And then if you wrote this on your test, you drew this out perfectly, and you showed me your base 10 blocks, and you even went so far as to put this, guess what? You're going to get points. You're going to get full credit for this. And that's the answer. That's your model to describe how many are in each group. All right, let's go on to number 20. We're going to help Jim out. All right, Jim needs to divide 750 coupon books equally among 9 stores. Looks like Jim is a bit of a couponer, which I respect. In which place is the first digit of the quotient? So this is cool. Like, we don't even really need to kind of do the whole division process. You just need to kind of set it up, and then you just need to figure out where the first digit of your quotient is. So again, first step, Mr. Carey, highlight your dividend. You're going to highlight your dividend in blue, which is 750 coupon books. Perfect. Highlight our divisor in red, 9 stores. And then I'm not going to highlight the quotient yet because it's not really asking us what the quotient is. It just wants to know in which place is the first digit. So let's set up our math problem. 750 coupon books divided by 9 stores. So let's look at my hundreds place, 700s. Can I take 700s and divide them among 9 groups? No, I can't. I have to break them apart into tens, or remember the math term is, that's right, regroup. So I have to regroup. So instead of 700s, I now have 75 tens. So can I divide 9 into 75, or 75 divided by 9? Sure. And then what does that get me? 9 times what gets me close to that? Right, 9 times 8. Now, we don't have to go any further. We don't have to divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. What is it asking us? It's asking us in which place is the first digit of the quotient. So let's look at, I'm going to highlight this in gold. Where, ooh, that comes out really nice. What place value is that? And if you said tens, you would be absolutely correct. Tens place, because look, my ones, my tens, and my hundreds. My quotient, the first place value it's in, is in the tens place. Remember, because I use 75 tens. Outstanding. They try to trick us here with the thousands, because there is no thousands. All right, 2 more to go. Let's push through. Ursula bought 9 dozen rolls of first aid tape for the health office. It's very nice of her. The rolls were divided equally into 4 boxes. How many rolls are in each box? So this is one of our multi-step division problems. So to start off, we need to figure out, well, how many rolls of first aid tape? So I'm going to go, remember, let's highlight. In blue is our dividend, which is 9 dozen. More to come on that. Our divisor, 4 boxes. And then our quotient is going to be how many rolls are in each box. All right. So first, 9 dozen. What is 9 dozen? Well, what is a dozen? Well, a dozen is 12. So to figure out how many rolls, we need to multiply a dozen times 9, which now we just do multiplication. 2 times 9 is 18. I have to regroup the tens. 1 times 9 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. Outstanding. So now we know we have 108. And I'm going to write that up here. 108. Because I want to keep track, and I'm going to highlight that. Now that I know I have 108 rolls of first aid tape, now I can just go ahead and do division. So 108 rolls divided into 4 boxes. Now remember, does McDonald's serve burgers? Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. All right, let's do it. All right, can I start off with my hundreds? Can 4 be divided into 100s? Or can 100 be divided 4 times? No, it can't, so let's move on to my tens. So instead of having 100, I now have 10 tens. So can 10 tens be divided into 4 groups? Or get close to it? Sure. Or think of it, 4 times what gets me close to 10? So 4 times 2. Now remember, that goes above the tens. 2. So divide. 10 divided by 4, kind of like 2. 2 times 4 is 8. Divide, multiply, subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. And then bring down 8. Now we have, instead we have 2 tens, now we have 28 ones. Can 28 ones be divided into 4 groups? Sure, that looks like a basic division fact to me. So 28 divided by 4 is 7. And then multiply. 7 times 4 is 28. And then subtract. 28 minus 28 is 0. And it looks like there are 27 rolls in each box. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and erase my work in number 21 only because I write kind of big and I need to kind of have some room to work with number 22. So let's read number 22. There are 112 seats in the school auditorium. There are 7 seats in each row. All right, so there are 70 people seated, filling up full rows of seats. How many rows are empty? Well, let's first figure out, before we go ahead and start, throwing stuff together, how many rows in total do we have? We don't really know right now. We know there's 7 seats in each row. So let's figure out how many total rows we have. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to highlight first. Remember, highlight my dividend, which is 112 seats. My divisor, 7 seats. And right now we're going to ignore that there's 70 people seated. Right now we just need to figure out how many total rows we have, because until we figure that out, we're just kind of just spinning our wheels. So our dividend, 112. How many seats in each row? 7 seats. Now, let's go ahead and solve. Can 100 be divided into 7 groups? Nope, so we're going to have to regroup. Can 11 tens be divided into 7 groups? Sure. So 7 times what gets me close to 11? I'll go with 1, because 7 times 2 would be 14, and that'd be too many. So 1, now divide. 11 divided by 7 is 1. Multiply. 1 times 7 is 7. Subtract. 11 minus 7 is 4. And then bring down 2. All right. And now start the process over again. Divide. 42 divided by 7. 6. Outstanding. Multiply. 6 times 7 is 42. Subtract. 42 minus 42 is 0. And guess what? We know, and I'm going to write this up here, there's 112 seats in the school auditorium. There's 7 seats in each row. So now we know we have, and I'm going to erase, actually I'll just write it over here. We know we have 16 rows total. All right. So now we know there are 70 people seated, filling up full rows of seats. That is a key right there. And I'm going to highlight that in gold or yellow. So if I have 7 seats in each row and I have a total of 70 people seated, how many rows are filled? That looks like another division problem, or you can do multiplication too, right? 7, this is kind of cool. 7 times what gets me 70? Haha, yes. 7 seats times 10 rows give me 70 people. So we know I have used up 10 rows. 10 rows are full. People are seated. I have 70 people seated. All right. Well, how many rows are empty? Now it's just a matter of subtraction. I have 16 rows total. 10 are filled up. 16 minus 10 is 6. So there are 6 rows empty. Pretty cool, huh? We use a little bit of division, and then we use kind of division, multiplication, and then we use some good old-fashioned subtraction to find out that we have 6 rows that are empty in the school auditorium. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this unfortunately brings me to the end of our Chapter 4 GoMath 4th grade review/test. If you enjoyed this video, please do not hesitate to give me a like, or if you want to comment and say how much you liked it, or you know what, if you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down and tell me why you didn't like it. If you think I could have added something like, hey, I really would have liked you if you had done, I don't know, something. I wish you would have explained more on regrouping or the repeated subtraction. I don't really understand. So just leave a comment, drop a comment there and let me know. And I can put up another video, or I can put up an additional entry to kind of explain things for you. But until then, until my next, this should be my last Chapter 4 video for you. The next time you see me will be Chapter 5, which, if I'm looking ahead, looks like Chapter 5 is going to be a lot of fun. Chapter 5 is, for my students, we've kind of been going over this a lot, which is really cool. And it's just going to be factors. And I say just, right? It's just going to be factors. Factors, multiples. And we've kind of been working on this a little bit. Modeling and divisibility and problem solving, prime numbers, composite numbers. So that'll be a lot of fun. But until then, you'll probably have to wait a couple days for my next video. But I hope you all had a great weekend, and I will see you in Chapter 5.